everybody. Welcome to the group. I'm Rachel Arazo, your intuitive divination mentor. Hi. Let me make sure we got the live up. I hope everyone's having a happy Friday. Yes, it is. We got sound. I haven't quite figured out all the bells and whistles on this computer yet. Hello, let me know if you have sound. That's supposed to be the sound hole. Let's see. Hi, Anna. Hello. Can see and hear you just fine. Okay. Yeah, I got a new computer. So, and it's actually running at a good speed. And I haven't figured out the sound on here yet. It's being funky. And I actually have comments up over here, and I'm not blinking all over the place, and it's amazing. So happy Friday! I hope everyone's doing wonderful. Let me know what you've done this week, what you're doing this weekend. This week, well, last weekend, my husband and I like to take every week or so to go out and do something. Every Saturday is his day, every Sunday is mine, and we go out together every couple weeks. That way we can actually get a date night in. Because that's important in relationships, being together even when you have kids. So, we went to go see A Quiet Place, and it was funny because when we went to the theater, they have a dollar theater here. So, all the movies that aren't in the main theater and have just left, they'd send it over to the dollar theater. You get to see it for $1.75. So we went to go see it, and because it's a quiet movie, because it's a quiet place, we could hear Deadpool next door. We could hear the projectionist up in the booth talking. It was a good movie, and then on Sunday, I went out with a friend to go see The Greatest Showman. So I've had Hugh Jackman stuck in my head all day. Well, all week, actually. I've been listening to it over and over and over again. And then all this week has just been super, super busy. Got client meetings, got appointments, got trainings, making all kinds of stuff. I made stuff for the chakra workshop that we're doing. It's been fun. And then tonight I have a meetup with a bunch of fellow psychics, and we're going to get together and do storytelling with tarot. Let's see. Can see and hear you, sort of. Oh, Lena. Anna says, this week has been pretty active. Done things all by myself, meeting with friends. And this weekend I'm waiting for Sunday afternoon when I can meet my darling daughter when she's back from France. Yeah, she had her trip. I hope she had a wonderful week. I hope she enjoyed. Yeah, The Greatest Showman, you can tell it wasn't 100% true about P.T. Barnum, but it was a really good rendition of it. It was a very, very good movie. I really loved it. I would love to be in the show. How I am, because the reason I even got into theater and such was because of musicals. So going to see any kind of musical, it just makes me happy. And I will vibe, like we're going to talk about energy flow today. When I vibe with certain energy, I notice I will listen to certain songs on repeat. Mainly because of how I am as a person with music, but then also how just what vibes me is usually the musical that I am listening to over and over and over again. Lena, I did a ton of things. This week is gone and yesterday was Monday. I know, right? It's wowing me that we're about to enter the third quarter of the year, which is nuts because this is going to be my busy quarter. I have so much planned for everyone here. It's ridiculous. So just to clear up confusion with everybody, I had sent out an email and I posted in the group to chat over Zoom because I want to talk to everybody one-on-one more. I want to do a chat with everyone. And Zoom was trying to crash my computer, and I just got it. So we're not gonna do that. Hopefully everyone will come over here and they will chat with us here, because I was gonna stream it in the group and everybody was gonna talk and we were gonna get to know each other and have questions and make it one-on-one. But I will work on that, and we will make it flow a lot more and make the computer not want to crap itself. So that's what happened. That's what was happening for those that were confused about why I added links and went places. See, Anna says she had an awesome time, hot all days in sunlight, but so many things to see, a little overwhelming at times. I think she missed me and her dad when she got too tired. That was a sign I know turns up when it's too much for her. Yeah, too much of a culture shock, too much stimulation, too much to do. At least she had this wonderful experience, though, where she was kind of by herself and she got to go out and explore the world. That's always wonderful. Like, I feel like every child, not even child, every person, when they hit teenagehood, should have the experience to go abroad without their family. Just because it helps you grow in a different kind of way and gets to know the world in a different kind of way. And I know when I took my trip to Japan, I was in 8th grade. I was 13. And then when I went to China, I was 17, almost 18. And it's quite the experience going abroad without your family and just learning how to be on your own a little bit, even if you're with a group, because I was with a group both times. So I bet when she comes back, there's just going to be this maturity about her, where she's a world traveler now. And she's got to experience things and start to branch out on her own. Yeah. Sorry, I confused everybody. I confused everyone. So, today we're going to be talking about energy flow, especially because this week we hit Mars retrograde, and it's been kind of funky. I've had people popping up from my past, just randomly messaging me, like, do I need to talk to you? I don't vibe with you. Why are you reaching out to me again? I've been a little nostalgic, but not too much. And it's just been things that have been going wrong go wrong even more, and things that have been going good suddenly take a 180. It's been funky. Let me fix this. I like that. Okay, we'll do that. I keep messing with my head. So, that's what's been happening this week with Mars retrograde. So now we officially have 5 planets in retrograde. We're gonna gain Mercury, lose we're gonna lose Jupiter, and then we're gonna get Venus too. So things are gonna be going all kinds of wonky. So it's really important right now to know our natural energy flow and when to know our body is out of whack, because sometimes it's the world around us and sometimes it's actually what's within us. That is perfectly fine. Well, thank you. I don't know what's up with me today. So, when it comes to your energy, I've talked about this before, how tracking how you feel with some kind of method, with divination, so tarot readings, palm readings is another great way, because you can tell that morning if something is going to go funky for you. And because that's how it is for palm reading. You read one hand in the morning, you read the other one at night, because it changes every single day. And then we also get actual bullet journal tracking. So like my energy checker, I've neglected it because I've been tracking things on my phone. But it's good to maintain that cycle of the year where let's see how my energy ebbs and flows, because then you can come to expect things. So like, I've given the tip before, mainly for astrology, when we talk about the Moon Sister Circle, how if you can track what birth moon phase that you were in, actually, like which one you actually were a part of, that can tell you when your peak energy period is. So when it comes to that, That'll tell you not only just about your energy, but if you're a woman, that'll tell you when your period should be starting, like close by. That'll tell you the most likely the moon phase that menopause will be starting for you. If you have mental illness, like bipolar, depression, anxiety, you can tell when your flare-ups will be based off of when the moon hits. So we all like to talk about how the full moon is the peak period for energy, and the new moon is supposed to be planting the seeds. But if you're born on the new moon like me, then that's going to be your peak period. That's when everything needs to be cultivating, because that's your peak time. And then about 3-4 days afterwards, you're going to hit your period. Fun fact. And then the opposite of your cycle, so for me would be the full moon, is your lowest period. That's when everything's going to be funky. That's when I noticed growing up, that's when I would have my depressive episodes, and I would be really, really low. And if I couldn't get out of that slump, I would be that way throughout the new moon too. When I noticed my anxiety when I first had my daughter, my postpartum anxiety was nuts around the full moon. And I notice even now with her, if it's around a full moon, her energy starts coming back. And because she was born a week after the full moon, she would have been born on a super moon. Made me mad. Because she was born the week after, so when she's waning, that's her peak period. So right now, she's at her peak energy. She's bouncing all over the place. But then the opposite end of the cycle, when we're after the new moon, 1 week after the new moon, she's going to be really low. And she's going to be really tired. That's how she is. So, has anybody ever tracked their energy like that before? Have they ever gone through the energy like that? Hi, Malay. Hi, everyone. I'm late. It's okay. It was confusing today. I was confusing people. Energy flow. Yes, I need that. Amanda, can you post a link to find that? I thought you posted it before, but I don't know where to look. Yeah. For those that are in the academy, it's actually in the tracking, how to find your natural energy pattern amongst the stars module. I think that's module 4. But the moon phase calculator, moon phase, birthday, moon glow. You go over to this lovely jewelry site, and that'll tell you your moon phase personality. There you go. Popped it in there. Yeah, I really recommend it because that helps you track your natural energy flow. I also recommend, like I said, I need to catch up on mine because I've been tracking it on my phone instead. But I recommend making some kind of tracker where you see what mood you're in based on the moon cycle. So you can see, yeah, we're about to be in July. I'm 2 months behind on this thing. But based on my mood, I could tell how I was feeling during that flow. And I could see when I was in the mood for more things. I could see actually when my Shark Week would happen, things like that. So it matters, especially when it comes to your psychic abilities. Because if we are at our low energy, it's going to be harder for us to tap into ourselves. And that's usually when people try to, because they feel like they want to get out of that funk. They feel they're in a funk, and they try to tap into their abilities. They try to do a reading, or they try to do some kind of meditation, and their brain can't focus, and then they hate themselves. Don't do that. It's just because of your natural flow. It's not flowing right now. So, what can we do to help you know that you're not feeling your natural flow? So, some sure signs of this are your mood. That's why so many people with the law of attraction, with magic, everything like that, when you are intention-based, they tell you that you need to pay attention to how you're feeling. If you're feeling sad, frustrated, angry, tired, really negative, more sounding emotions, because all emotion is needed, but if you are on the end of the spectrum where you don't feel good in some way, you're in your low energy. Something's off. And the worse you feel, most likely you're at your lowest energy plane. If you're happy, if you're smiling, if you're bright, if you're flowing and everything's going good, and you feel active and energetic, maybe you actually want to go work out, or you actually want to sit and meditate and it flows and things are popping, you're in a high vibe. You're in high energy. You're feeling great. And that would be when you want to do the introspection. That's when you want to do the shadow work. That's when you want to do the tarot reading. That's when you want to sit down and look at your palms. That's why they recommend to meditate and to do any type of divination, do it first thing in the morning when you wake up. Because you're in a neutral spot when you go to sleep. It's like you reset when you first wake up, unless you have a child like mine that likes to mess with things as soon as you wake up and just set you off in a bad mood all day. That's when you check your hands. That's when you check your dominant hand for palmistry. That's when you pull your cards. That's when you sit there with your mala and you do a quick round of meditation. Things like that. Because it sets your intentions for the day and it makes you feel good. If you do it late at night, it's not as good, but it helps you get to a nice neutral spot so you can go to sleep better. Does that make sense? You know me, I talk fast and I flow through. Give me thumbs up, likes, hearts, if you understand. Let's see. Amanda says, I'm not sure how, and with me struggling with depression, it's hard to know my own energy some days. Yeah, it can be, and I totally get that. Like, there was a good period of my life. Gonna get personal here for a second. I'm sorry for trigger warning, just in case. Growing up, there was a good period of my life after my sister was born that my mom was really, really depressed. She's diagnosed with bipolar depression and everything. And without going super into detail about it, she attempted to take her life a couple of times. There was a good year or two period where she was consistently in and out of the hospital. And we lived with my grandparents. And this was that time when my abilities started popping up, only I didn't know it, because it was a traumatic experience for me, and usually trauma will trigger it, depending on what the trauma is. So I was at a really, really low point. I was constantly depressed. I cut, but not deep enough to draw blood, but enough to scratch myself, because I wanted to feel something. And I was middle school. I was 6th grade. So like 11, 12 years old. It was rough. And there was some days I didn't know how I could feel. The only thing that kind of woke me up was one day I was laughing about something and my grandmother said she hadn't seen me laugh in a long time or smile in a long time. And it was hard tracking my energy. But once I realized that I was in a low point, I started trying to figure out why. Because if I could figure out how to rely on myself, because it was also part of my spiritual awakening at that point, because grew up a witness, and I was like, why am I screaming for a God that isn't saying anything or helping me? If I realized I could help myself in some kind of way, and I could find some way to figure out when I'm feeling bad, then I won't end up like that. I won't be so low that I want to hurt myself anymore, or I won't get as low as my mom was feeling and constantly be in and out of the hospital and everything. And that was my motivation for a very long time on tracking my own energy, was making sure that I was in a good flow, and if I was starting to feel low, how could I take care of myself? So when I started doing that, because at that point, I was on medication, I was being taken to therapists, everything like that, to make sure I was okay, and none of it was working for me, mainly because I didn't put any trust in it, and I didn't, I had this thing about control. I still have this thing about control about it, but that's how come I'm like, get some kind of help, find some flow that works for you, if that means going to a therapist, if that means using medication. For me, tracking my energy helped me prepare for those low periods. It helped me figure out when am I feeling uber dependent on people or want to be by myself. And even just writing down or keeping track of how I'm feeling that day helped me establish a pattern. So now, instead of like 4 years ago when I would hit a depressive episode, I would be out for weeks in my bed just crying, couldn't handle it. Now I can condense it to one day when it does happen. If I get really low and I'm stressed out and I can't do anything and I wake up in the morning and I know it's not going to be a good day and that battle inside my head, I can condense it to one day. I may trickle over into the next, but it can all be taken care of in one go now, because I can track my energy and I can tell that it's coming and I can keep on top of myself. So that's why I really recommend some kind of way, at least to track your moods, because that'll tell you how your energy is. Me always getting personal. I hope that made sense, Amanda. Malay energy flow tracking based on moon cycles. Yeah, it's very it's a simple little trick, and it helps you get involved, especially because I didn't know when I first started doing anything spiritual or magical what the hell the moon was for, why everyone was obsessed about the moon. When I started tracking my energy and seeing how it flowed with the moon and when I was born, then I was like, okay, I can understand it now. Because it's actually making sense to how my cycle is. And it will be interesting to see how it stays the same or changes, since I'm not having any periods any longer. Haven't for several years. Yeah, and even if you don't anymore, if you don't have your flow anymore, or even if you're a man and don't have a flow at all, we all still have our natural energy cycles. Points of the month where we feel really low, when we feel stressed out, and when we feel really high. And if we can find the causation behind that, we can work on that instead of just the symptoms, instead of how we feel low and trying to fix just that. We fix the causes instead. You know what I mean? I know the feeling, Amanda. I was a cutter for years, but it was hard. It was to stop the influx of milk. Yeah, I was numb. But like, when I'm talking about the cause, so like, when I talk about the cause of why your energy feels so low, there are some things that will be your trigger. This is why I'm big on noticing your psychic triggers, noticing your energy triggers. A trigger for me for the longest time was mentioning anything maternal, anything about my mother. We don't have a very good relationship. That would be a thing. Just mentioning her name, even if someone didn't know that was her name, that's her name. Main reason I didn't like Christmas for a long time, because her name is fucking everywhere. Then it would put me instantly in a bad mood, just instantly. So it's not at that point anymore, because I realized that's a trigger for me. I know that's a trigger. Another trigger for me, even outside of the psychic realm, this can come down to pet peeves, and you figure out, why is this a pet peeve for me? So like, if I say I'm coming, or saying that I'm ready for something, I don't like being rushed. Like, don't rush me. That part of that is my natural Taurus nature. Don't rush a slow bowl. But also from things in my past growing up, anytime I was rushed, it would be bad. Or anytime I was given a gift, it would be hard for me to accept it. And I noticed anytime someone tried to give me something, it would trigger something that would set off my abilities or turn my abilities off. Or it would mess with my energies in some way, and it would not make me right for the rest of the day. And I would have to sit and think, okay, why am I feeling like this? What in the world is wrong with me? Things like that. So this is why I also recommend a journal, because you can sit down and you can figure out these things and you can let it all flow for you. Let's make that a little lower. And you can try and work it out with yourself. Whereas sometimes if you are just floundering and you don't know what you're doing, then it makes it really, really hard. And it makes you feel like you're lost. And it makes you feel like you're just kind of floating there. Does that make sense? Let's see. Yeah, and when you find the causation of why you do certain things, what is causing that, then it helps finding your kind of treatment better. Whether that, again, be a therapist, if you need it, if that's medication, which we can talk about how to work with energy with medication, because a lot of people don't like medication because it makes them feel so low. But we will help you figure that out. Or if it's, again, tracking your natural energy and some kind of maintenance on yourself. is a kind of self-care, and it takes care of you as a spiritual worker, as a witch, as a diviner, as a psychic, everything. And you as a person. Noticing your energy will help you heal a lot of wounds and help you cope a lot better. So, so, make why your favorite question when it comes to noticing your energy. Okay, like, okay, so I'm feeling angry right now. Why? Well, maybe because this guy cut me off while I was driving. Okay, why does that make me angry? Be a toddler. Ask why. Over and over and over again. Because it'll help you dig deep. Okay? And at that point, that's when doing things like tapping, emotional tapping, EFT on your pressure points, that really helps, because then you know the exact reason why you feel a certain way and help clear that energetically. It reprograms your nervous system. That's when meditating and telling yourself that it's okay to feel this way and I'm going to release it, that'll help. That helps open up your chakras. And even like literally with chakras, figuring out, okay, this is the cause of it. Where would that root be? Like, where would that mess me up? So if I'm angry at someone cutting me off because I fear for my safety, that's fear. Where does fear resonate in your body for your chakras? In your root, on your sitting bones, in your large intestine, in your hips. It's that area. So maybe I need to do some yoga for my hips to help me release that fear. Maybe while I'm driving, to help that, I need to have a cushion that I'm sitting on that might be the color red to help me feel more grounded and rooted. Maybe instead of wearing shoes that are a little harder for me to break with, like heels, I have a hard time with heels because I can't judge the ground very well while I'm driving. Maybe I need to wear flip-flops. It'll help me feel more grounded to the pedals. And then if someone tries to cut me off like that again, I'm more grounded and I'm not as fearful. That makes sense? You're okay, Lena. You're right. If you need to chat with me about it, it's okay. You can chat with me. So, that's some ideas, if we can figure that out. So when it comes to, this is the kind of stuff that, when we talk about energy flow and trying to find the causation of stuff, this is what I wanted to do for Zoom today when I was talking about posting the links and I was sending out links to everybody, is so they can actually sit and chat with me like it's a coaching session. The tea time chat that I was talking about yesterday that I was inviting everyone to, it's free. Come and sit and chat with me and we will talk about your energy flow. I put a link up there. If you want to book a spot with me, go ahead and book a session with me. And we will sit and we'll chat about your energy flow and what your fears are, things like that. I know, not a lot of things to say about that though. Yeah, it's okay. It's a matter, it's realization of what's happening, and then that is one step on the way to helping you cope with it, you know? So when it comes to your energy flow, in the comments, tell me, when do you feel your energy is most off? When do you feel your lowest? Even if you don't know when you were born for your natal chart, what do you think is a trigger that makes you feel really, really low? For me, I talked about if people are rushing me, if anybody tries to help me and I didn't ask for it, or they give some kind of gift, I feel awkward. At least I used to. It's a lot better now. Sorry. Husband's messaging me. When do you feel most awkward? Yeah. No judgments. This is a judgment-free zone. So it can literally be anything. You could literally talk to me about anything and I won't judge you. You're fine. You're good. You're absolutely good. But if anybody wants to share, when do you feel, when do you feel really, really low? I know that if I have stress about my stability and things that I have been building up and working really, really hard for, if I feel any kind of stress about that and I fear it's being taken away from me, I will freak, and that'll trigger a depressive episode. Control in general. Ooh, getting itchy. I'm obviously on track of something. Let's see. Malay says I have inner child triggers. Not being seen or heard makes me feel like the Hulk. Yeah, I get that. It's like I get that. I remember memories growing up where I feel like I'd be left out of the conversation, so I would try to be like, hey, what are you all talking about? Now I see I was butting myself into other conversations, but at the time it was kind of like, I want to be included. There's this fear of being alone. So that would be a sacral chakra fear for you, Malay, that you would want to have to work on. And we can give lots of tips about that when we do the chakra workshop. Okay, Lena. Hope you have fun. Enjoy dog walking. Anna, trying to think here. I'm not very happy about being rushed or cornered. Stressed about things I have no control over. Yeah, it's a control thing. We want to expect things. We're psychics. We feel like we should expect everything and anything. But sometimes there's things that are out of our control. So, and there's this need of controlling things so we have security about what's going to happen so we don't freak out. And so we can be prepared for the misfortunes, Let's see, Amanda. When I think about how I haven't gotten a job yet, when I think about how my sex life is non-existent, yeah. And it's really a stability thing. It's being wanted. This is all very lower chakra base. This is all very sacral chakra, solar plexus, and root. And it's like, am I worthy of having the stable physical relationship that I want? Is it the financial stability and that security and having what I need so I don't have to worry about anything? And it causes a lack of freedom. We feel like we have to sit here and we have to be stressed out about this. We have to be worried about what's going on with these things because otherwise I don't have the freedom to do what I want with. We feel like restricted and feeling alone. Yeah. And that's the big thing. When it comes to your energy and you get to that point where you just feel lonely and you feel by yourself, then there's a disconnect. And there's some theories about why this happens. There's some theories like if you're big into the law of attraction, they feel like there's a disconnect between your higher self and what's actually happening for your divine self and how they're feeling. The reason why we feel bad emotion is because they feel happy. We don't, so there's an energy disconnection. That's one theory. Another thing is it's the chemicals in your body. You have these chemical reactions within yourself that make you feel certain moods and make you feel certain ways. And as humans, we're mammals, we're a very sociable species on this planet. We need connection with other people. Which is why those that are sexually active and have lots of hugs and lots of kisses have really happy, strong bonds with other people, and that physical touching interaction makes us feel good. So if we think of the musical Cats is popping into my head, and the reason being is we hear one of the characters, Grisabella, none of the other cats would touch her because she was old and she was scratched up and she was fragile and she was matting and she was limping and she wasn't like them because of something that she used to be really wonderful and really beautiful, but now she looks like she's a dead thing limping around and no one would touch her, which is why part of her song at the very end of it, in memory, she screams, "Just touch me." Just some kind of physical comfort, you know? It's a very similar thing. You feel alone, you feel isolated. And the big thing about that is remembering that energy is everywhere. Okay? There's literally electricity in the air. We have electrical impulses inside of our body. We send out energy all the time and we receive energy all the time. When we feel alone, I find it kind of comforting to remember I'm not the only energetic thing in this room. I've got a fan running by energy. I've got cables in the walls. I've got a computer. I have people that I'm talking to over live stream, over long distance, and that's still an energetic exchange. That's still talking back and forth. There's other people in the apartments around me. There's energy all around me. So even though I feel like I'm isolated, I'm actually surrounded by energy. That's why a lot of people are like, love is surrounding us, because technically it is. Like, it's a form of energy. It's all around us. But when you're feeling low, and you're feeling lonely, or you're feeling a need for control, and you feel fear, and this imbalance in yourself, it's hard to break out of that. So, one really easy way to do that is with chakras, because we're dealing with the energy centers in our body, and we want to find our flow again. Now, we're going to go over specific tips and tricks that you can do to match your flow and to fix yourself in the chakra workshop. I've been building it. It's freaking huge. This workbook is big. And there's all kinds of ways. But the simple way is when you feel yourself energetically low, stop, brush yourself off, like literally just step out, brush yourself off to get rid of that vibe and find yourself a neutral place again. A lot of the times when we're feeling low or feeling sad or depressed or angry, we want to try to get immediately back up to happy again, and that doesn't happen. That's why people with really low moods because of medication, they want to be happy again, and then they feel bad because they aren't that high of an energy level, and then that brings them down lower. Get to a nice neutral spot again. If that deals with thoughts, that deals with people that you're around and you have to separate yourself, or whatever it is. So if the thought of losing my stability, if losing my home, losing my family, losing my husband or wife, your spouse, the thought of losing everything puts fear in me, let's pivot to a neutral thought that has nothing to do with what I'm thinking about. Like this water bottle. This is a nice water bottle. It's clean. It has no cracks in it. And it lets me stay hydrated. It's a nice neutral thing. Or I have a poster of Castlevania 2 Lords of Shadows on the wall, and there's Dracula looking like a hunk. That's Dracula. He's got a cool belt on. There's all kinds of warriors and stuff behind him. I might focus on that because that is neutral. It's a neutral thing. You know? And I have no emotional attachment to it whatsoever. And then, because I'm at a neutral spot, it'll be easier for me to get high vibe again. It'll be easier for me to get happier again. It'll be easier for me to tap into my abilities again because I'm at a neutral spot and not pushing myself to get happy. Okay? That's why Reiki is so wonderful. I talked about Reiki this week in the group because, especially when it deals with chakras, if you are on medication and you deal with physical ailments, and it makes you really low vibe, Reiki is a high vibe technique that brings you to a nice neutral spot. So you actually feel kind of okay. And you feel that flow again. And you might not be happy, but you will feel contentment and calm and comfortable. Does that make sense? Let's see. Anna says, I'm different in that way. I need to have my alone time. Yeah, some people need to be more secluded. If there's too much physical stimulation or stimulation from other people, they get overwhelmed. So they need some separation. That definitely is a factor. Hi, Leticia. Just opened up live feed, was shopping a newish witchy shop in North Denver. Ooh, I need to come see you, Leticia, because you're near me. Speaking of low vibe, Anna says, oh, I remember that song we sang it in school. Our wonderful music teacher has a musical theme going at the time. Yeah, a lot of people hate Memory, and I'm like, I like Memory. I love Cats. That was my first musical. And it's a good song when you pick apart all the little pieces of it like we did in the musical challenge. Amanda, I go through bouts of feeling like my life is pointless. That happens too. And sometimes if doing the easy techniques that I've given you is not enough, that's when going to see a therapist, because there's nothing wrong with that, having somebody talk to and somebody to help get you to a neutral spot and give you the tools to take control of yourself again, is a must. And being able to help yourself, because then you have someone to chat with and have someone to actually work with you specifically for your health. That's when medication, if it's needed, will help you, and that will help you again get to that nice neutral spot, so then being high vibe will help, and it won't inhibit your psychic abilities at all. Yes, neutrality, I'm trying to do that. Not judge feelings as good or bad, or else when you're low, like you said, you want to feel up. Exactly, Malay, yeah. Get to that neutral spot, and it'll help so much more. I like that song too. Yay! Amanda, you've helped me a lot. Those bouts don't nearly happen as often as you used to be. I'm glad, and that's mainly because a lot of our coaching together, Amanda, is figuring out your natural pattern to help get you more on a routine again. Okay, Anna, that's okay. So yeah. Apparently I'm going to have to cut a little early because we're having issues. But does anybody have questions about their energy flow? If, again, you really want to talk to me more about this one-on-one and you have issues with your energy flow, click the link up there. It's free. Just talk to me. We'll meet, have a cup of tea, and chat about your energy. We'll chat about your fears with your psychic abilities that you're having issues with. We'll talk about the hard points that you're dealing with when it comes to your practice and why you feel like you can't move forward if you feel stuck like that, or what your next step would be. Because I know there's some wonderful people in here who are doing all the work. They're taking control of their energy. They're working hard. They're really going out of their way to make sure that they come to the workshops and they're on top of everything. And then they stop. And it's like there's a fear of moving forward because we're used to sitting to Google symptoms and keywords on, and Google is not a good mentor. That just leads to nothing but frustration. And so it's like you get stuck in this endless cycle of, okay, maybe I'll just do the intro stuff, and when really all that stuff is to get you started on it. You need some help moving forward. So this is an opportunity to coach with me one-on-one, and we'll talk about it, and we'll walk you through it. So, I hope, I'm glad I did start a little bit early today then. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of their day. I hope you have a happy Friday and a happy weekend. I'm gonna go ahead and go eat some lunch and get high vibe. And I will talk to everybody later. Love you all. Bye.